Ladies and gentlemen, there is a power inside you that doesn't need a microphone, doesn't demand a stage, and never begs for attention. It speaks in silence, it echoes in energy, and it manifests through presence. There are people in this world who never need to utter a single word, yet their lives speak volumes. Their dreams turn into reality not because they shout, but because they align, because they believe, because they walk in harmony with the universe. Today, I want to talk to you about that power. The ability to manifest everything your heart desires without ever needing to say a single word. This is not about silence. This is about strength. This is not about passivity. This is about powerful alignment. It is about mastering the unseen, shaping the intangible, and commanding the universe not through noise, but through inner knowing. Are you ready to become the kind of soul whose energy becomes louder than their voice? Let's begin with 5 powerful strategies that will open the path to silent manifestation. Your energy is louder than your voice. There are moments in life when you walk into a space and feel something shift. You don't hear it, but you feel it. A certain calm, a certain stillness, a certain aura that transcends sound. That shift comes from someone whose energy has arrived before they even spoke. That's the kind of energy that speaks for you. It announces your soul, even when your lips remain still. Energy isn't about noise, nor is it about being noticed. It's about resonance. It's about the way your inner peace vibrates through your skin and touches the spaces you enter. It's about how your sincerity carries weight even in silence. When you hold pure intentions and quiet strength, your energy becomes your loudest language. There's something profound about people who radiate without the need to broadcast. They don't need to say, I'm confident, because confidence glows from the way they hold themselves. They don't need to say, I'm kind, because kindness pours from their eyes. They don't need to prove anything because they are everything they claim, silently. Your energy is sculpted by your thoughts, shaped by your emotions, and anchored by your beliefs. It is the sum of everything you carry inside of you, and when your energy becomes congruent with peace, love, and authenticity, it begins to work for you in every room you enter, every relationship you build, and every dream you nurture. You don't need a crowd to validate your worth when your energy confirms it. You don't need applause when your energy earns quiet respect. You don't need attention when your energy becomes attention itself. The calmness in your walk, the grace in your eyes, but the stillness in your spirit, these are the statements your soul makes every day without speaking. Some people are remembered not for what they said, but for how they made others feel. Their energy was their legacy. Their presence lingered long after they left. And that kind of impact doesn't come from rehearsed speeches or perfect wordssit, it comes from the silent authenticity of their being. When you start valuing your peace more than validation, your energy becomes peaceful. When you start protecting your truth more than appearances, your energy becomes grounded. When you start choosing growth over comfort, your energy becomes elevated. And people notice and know because you shout, but because you shine. Silence doesn't mean absence. Sometimes it means mastery. Mastery over reactions, over ego, over the need to prove. And that mastery creates a current around you. An invisible force that attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the right outcomes without a single demand. There's a magnetic field that exists around people who know who they are and who don't need to explain it. That field isn't seen, but it's felt. It draws in peace and repels chaos. It nurtures love and diffuses envy. It walks with quiet authority and inspires others to rise without ever asking them to. You become a lighthouse in the storm. Not because you call attention to yourself, but because your light makes people feel safe. You become the calm in someone else's chaos, not by speaking louder, but by being stiller. And in this stillness, your energy becomes medicine for those around you. There are days when you will feel unseen, unheard, unacknowledged. But know this, your energy is always noticed by the universe. Even when people don't applaud it, the world is responding to it. Even when no one says thank you, the energy you emit is changing something in the invisible realm. Energy cannot be hidden. It leaks out of your actions, your choices, your smile, your silence. It builds or it breaks, it heals or it harms, it attracts or it repels. When you're conscious of the energy you carry, you begin to understand that manifestation doesn't begin in your voice, it begins in your vibration. You don't manifest by convincing others of your dreams. You manifest by embodying them. You don't manifest by talking about who you want to become. You manifest by aligning your actions, values, and spirit with that version. And when you do that, your energy becomes a mirror reflecting your future. Every time you choose peace over pettiness, your energy grows. Every time you choose patience over panic, your energy sharpens. Every time you choose inner truth over outer noise, your energy rises. And with each silent choice, you're building a life that speaks before you do. The world hears you through your presence, not your pitch. Through your vibe, not your volume. Through your essence, not your echo. And when your energy speaks clearly, life listens deeply. Thoughts are silent architects. There is a sacred place where every reality begins a quiet space between your ears. In this space, kingdoms are designed, dreams are carved, and destinies are decided. The world may never hear your thoughts, but it will always feel their weight. Because thoughts are not just invisible whispers, they are blueprints, silent architects of the life you're about to live. You see, every great structure starts as an idea. Before a single stone is laid, before a single wall is raised, there's an invisible plan. That plan is drafted quietly in the mind. And in the same way, your life is shaped by the blueprints your thoughts are creating right now, whether you realize it or not. If you walk around every day thinking you're not enough, you build a life that reflects lack. If you imagine chaos, you start to attract confusion. But the moment you begin to think in alignment with peace, with strength, with purpose, you begin to manifest a life that mirrors that clarity. The most powerful manifestations are not born in noise. They are born in deep mental clarity. You don't need to shout your dreams from the rooftop if your thoughts already believe them. When the mind becomes convinced, the body follows. The world starts rearranging. And that transformation begins in the most sacred silence of all. The silence within your thoughts are like a river. They flow through you constantly, shaping the landscape of your internal world. And over time, those small currents carve out canyons in your reality. They determine the depth of your self-worth, the width of your dreams, and the strength of your faith. What you think quietly today becomes what you live loudly tomorrow. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about intentional thinking. It's about becoming the kind of person who carefully selects every thought, not just out of hope, but out of awareness. Because every thought is a decision. Every thought is an instruction to the universe. Every thought is a silent prayer, answered in its own time. We were never taught to respect our thoughts as sacred tools. But once you begin to see them as builders, slow, steady, consistent builders, you'll stop allowing doubt to be your architect. You'll stop letting fear draft your design. You'll choose patience over panic, discipline over distraction. And in that space, manifestation begins. Your mind is the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can't plant weeds and expect roses. You can't entertain fear and expect faith to bloom. The harvest always matches the seed. So when you start cultivating thoughts of love, thoughts of courage, thoughts of resilience, your garden begins to change without needing to make a sound. There's a kind of strength in people who guard their mental space. They're not just avoiding negativity, they're protecting construction. They know that each thought either builds or breaks their foundation. So they practice awareness, they speak gently to themselves in silence, and they honor the process of mental building like sacred work. You don't have to announce your every thought to the world for it to be powerful. You just have to align with it so deeply that it becomes real inside you first. The deeper the belief, the louder the vibration. The louder the vibration, the faster the manifestation. It's not about noise. It's about alignment. Most of the world lives reacting to what they see, but the architects of extraordinary lives create what they want to see before it exists. They live from the inside out. They are not victims of external noise. They are creators of internal stillness. And in that stillness, they write silent scripts for their future. There will be days your thoughts try to betray you, days when doubt knocks louder than faith. But if you learn to catch those thoughts, to reframe them, to breathe into them with truth, you will rewrite the architecture of your life one silent brick at a time. There is no need to convince others of what you're building when your thoughts already know where they're going. There is no need to explain the vision when your inner world is already living inside it. You just keep thinking as the person who already has it, who already feels it, who already honors it on the outside, will eventually catch up. The secret is not to wait for proof before you believe. The secret is to believe so powerfully in silence that life is forced to deliver proof. That is the work of a silent architect. That is the discipline of thought. That is the essence of manifestation through the mind. And once your mind believes something fully, your actions, energy, and environment will start reflecting that belief without ever needing to speak a single word. Alignment speaks louder than action. We've been taught to chase, to run, to push, to prove. The louder we act, the more we believe we're doing. But there is a deeper truth beneath all this motivational truth that whispers softly. Not everything you desire comes through struggle. Sometimes it comes through alignment. Not through force, but through flow. Alignment is not about how fast you move. It's about whether the direction you're headed even matches who you are becoming. It's the harmony between your intention, your energy, your values, and your vision. When you are aligned, your life starts unfolding with more ease, less resistance, and greater purpose even if no one else sees the effort. You see, a lot of people work endlessly but still feel stuck. That's not because they're lazy, it's because they're misaligned. They're climbing a ladder that's leaning on the wrong wall. They're saying yes when their soul is screaming no. They're trying to manifest joy while operating from fear. And no matter how hard you work, if your spirit isn't aligned, life won't respond with fulfillment. True alignment is quiet. It doesn't need grand gestures. It starts with internal honesty. It begins the moment you stop pretending to want what others expect and start honoring what your soul whispers in the stillness. That whisper is the compass. And when you follow it, even your smallest steps become sacred. There's a kind of power that comes from being in alignment. You wake up with peace, not panic. You act with clarity, not confusion. You move with confidence, not comparison. And the world begins to mirror that energy, not because you've done more, but because you've finally become more. Alignment turns every action into a message to the universe. A quiet, sacred message that says, I trust the timing. I trust my path. I am ready for what is meant for me. And with every step you take in alignment, the doors you once had to knock on start opening on their own without resistance. You don't have to scream your goals when you live in alignment with them. Your daily habits start reflecting your future. Your boundaries start honoring your self-worth. Your relationships start matching your vibration. Life starts making sense in ways it never did. When you were just chasing, running, proving. Some people try to control outcomes, micromanage every step. But those in alignment surrender not out of weakness, but out of deep knowing. They understand that the universe doesn't respond to desperate effort, it responds to congruence. When your inside world matches what you want to receive, manifestation becomes inevitable. There's a gentle strength in people who move slowly but surely in the direction of their soul. They're not loud, but they're certain. They don't race, but they don't stop. They may be unseen in the crowd, but their vibration is undeniable. And because they are aligned, they receive in silence what others chase in noise. You'll start noticing that when you are aligned, the right people find you. The right moments open up. The right choices become clearer. And you don't need to over-explain or overcompensate. You simply exist in the flow. You simply become a magnet to what already belongs to you. Not through force, but through frequency. Alignment teaches you to trust your own rhythm. That you don't have to keep up with anyone else. That your life is not late, your dream is not lost, your timing is not broken. You are simply being shaped into the version of you that can hold the future you're asking for. And that shaping is sacred. Every time you honor your truth over pressure, you align deeper. Every time you choose rest over burnout, clarity over chaos, stillness over speed, you align deeper. And in that space, action becomes less about what you do and more about who you are being while you do it. People often misunderstand silence in alignment. They think you've given up. They assume you've stopped trying. But what they don't see is the inner work, the letting go, the surrender, the refining, the softening. What they don't feel is the intensity of your trust, the fire of your patience, the faith in your foundation. You're no longer trying to control the storm. You've become the calm within it. And that calm is not passive. That calm is magnetic. That calm is power. The more you live in that calm, the more your life moves, often without needing to shout, push, or panic. When your soul is aligned, you no longer chase manifestation, you live it. And when you live it, the universe begins to respond in silence, with signs, with openings, with moments that speak louder than any words ever could. At the end of the day, so much of what we think we must say can in truth be lived. And so much of what we're trying to force with words can unfold in silence, if only we learn to trust the unseen. The world has taught us to be loud, to speak our dreams into existence, to shout our worth into crowded rooms, but there is another path, a path where your energy whispers louder than noise, where your thoughts shape your destiny in sacred quiet, where your alignment moves mountains you never even touch, where your emotions write letters to the universe and your faith becomes the echo that returns with everything you've ever asked for. This isn't about being passive. It's about becoming powerful without the need for display. It's about stepping into the version of you who no longer needs validation, no longer depends on applause, and no longer rushes to explain. Because that version of you walks with a knowing that cannot be shaken. That version of you doesn't ask for permission. That version of you doesn't speak for the sake of being heard because your life speaks for itself. You manifest not by saying more, but by being more. You manifest not by noise, but by energy. Not by effort alone, but by embodiment. And in that still, powerful embodiment, everything begins to shift. The right people feel you before they meet you. The right opportunities find you before you search. The right outcomes arrive without you having to scream for them. Because your silence was never empty, it was full of purpose, full of presence, full of power. To manifest everything without saying a word is to become the living vibration of what you desire. And once you become it, you will no longer chase anything. Everything will begin to arrive as silently, as surely, as gracefully as you